Police have just released dash cam footage of the shooting involving Philando Castile. Now, of course, Philando Castile was the man who was shot and killed by Geronimo Yanez. And he was the individual who told Yanez that he had a licensed gun in the car.
No, he didn't. 17 seconds in, and they're telling their first lie.
But with the video, we now have a clear idea of how the shooting went down.
Like your insurance?
Sir, I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it
I'm
out.
happy to let you know.
Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out!
In case you don't know what the Young Turks bias is, they put a big banner up there with police state, so you'll know they're going to be totally objective.
Okay, so here's what the video clarified for me. I was under the assumption that, and based on how this story was reported multiple times, that he was asked for his ID, and that was when he was reaching for his ID and he got shot then.
That's because that's what his girlfriend said. Repeatedly told people that you said reach for your ID, and that's what happened. As it turns out, he had handed the insurance card to the cop, and he was reaching apparently for his driver's license, which for some reason he hadn't pulled out previously.
But he had actually given the documentation to the cop before this happened, before the shooting happened. So he gives the documentation to the cop and then calmly says, which you could see in that video, I have to let you know I have a licensed gun in the car. And he says, oh.
No, he didn't.
Sir, I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it
I'm
out.
happy to let you know.
Don't pull it out.
At no point does Mr. Castile say, I have a legal weapon or I have a licensed weapon. He never says, I have a gun in the car. Many people think this is not a big distinction, but if the Young Turks didn't think it wasn't an important distinction, they wouldn't keep misrepresenting what happened. When you say you have the gun on you and you don't say you have a license, the cop is going to react differently. This is what they tell you in handgun classes, and always keep your hands where the cop can see it. If you have to reach for something, you say so. Castile made a tragic mistake in not saying first, I have a licensed gun, and sadly continued to reach for that gun or the seatbelt, they say, or the wallet when the cop said, don't reach for it 3 times. In many states, anybody can carry a gun in their car, and the police deal with people who have guns in their car, under the seat, in the console, in the glove box. But when you say that you have a gun on me, then the cop, in this case, knew that that weapon was right there on his person, and it turned out right in the pocket where he was reaching, even if the man had no intention of shooting or using the gun. The misrepresentation of what was said by the Young Turks is just typical of them, and it is a consistent spin to tell their story instead of trying to understand how this tragedy occurred.
Don't reach for it. And I'm not sure if you guys heard it, but at that point, Philando Castile says something along the lines of, I'm not reaching for it. And then immediately the shooting happens. So you don't see what's happening in the car, obviously, but I just want to clarify everything so people know the context of the situation.
Well, I understand. He did everything you're supposed to do. I mean, when you hear about
if I said that the police officer did everything right, everything exactly as he was supposed to do, I think this guy would disagree that up to the point where he started shooting, yes, he had done everything right. And up to the point that Philando Castile started reaching into his pocket where the gun was located, up to that point he had done everything right. But continuing to reach into a pocket where the gun is and the cop knows you have a gun on your person. Continuing to do that when you're told 3 times not to reach for it, not to pull it out, is not my idea of doing everything right.
Exactly what he was supposed to do. Everything that he was supposed to do.
No, he didn't.
So he calmly tells the cop, I have to tell you, I have a licensed gun in the car.
No, he didn't.
It's because the cop thought, one of the reasons the escalation is the cop pulled him over because he thought he looked like a suspect in a robbery or a string of robberies, or I don't know, a string of robberies, but a robbery that had happened nearby. I still want to see a side by side of if they ever caught that guy, because I bet he doesn't look like Philando Castile. But he was black and he was young and he was in a car. How you reconcile that the robber you wanted was with a woman and small child who you tragically saw get out
The
of the
cop didn't have a side-by-side picture of the robbery suspect and this driver. Moreover, he pulled the guy over without getting a really close, really good look at him. As far as having a kid in the car, I doubt seriously that he could see the kid in the car before he pulled him over. He wasn't just randomly pulling over black guys. The guy had 2 of 3 taillights missing, and he was cautious because there was someone who was a suspected robber in the area. Everybody wants to spin this incident and every other involving race and police power to promote their agenda. I've seen gun channels telling us that they want to kill everybody that's got a gun. You have a gun, the police want to shoot you. This is stupid. And the spinning and the lying that everybody is doing isn't going to solve the problem. It's a difficult problem. And when people say, why did Philando keep reaching in the pocket when he was told not to? There's a question of, was he on marijuana? And then the immediate response is, being on marijuana doesn't give you the right to shoot somebody, which isn't what anyone was saying. Maybe he was so chilled out that he simply didn't feel a sense of fear when this policeman started saying, don't reach for it. I don't know. Why was the policeman that quick to pull a gun? Maybe having a child and a woman in the car, he thought he couldn't afford to retreat and get into a gun battle with someone who had innocent individuals in the car with him. This is all speculation, but solving this kind of problem requires decent civil conversation, not lies, not spinning, and not hating everyone who doesn't see it exactly the way you do. And the Young Turks are part of this problem.